Let's talk about the top three. Who are those you call top three?
Surely Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal.
You think Arne Slot's Liverpool are going to slot in?
No, but look, if he doesn't get this team to be part of the top three, he gets sacked.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mallam Goal podcast. With me today, Coach Nimley and Victor Achutamaklo. The Premier League is around the corner. It's just about to start. And as we always do it everywhere, on many platforms, we'll do the same here. We're going to be having a look at how the Premier League is likely to look like with the early predictions, how the newly promoted sides are going to fare, which teams are likely to finish in top four, win it, the mid-table teams, are we going to get another Aston Villa, and how are Aston Villa themselves going to cope with Europe and also the Premier League. So the conversation about the Premier League is what is about to happen. It's going to be more centered on the teams than the players. As the season goes on, we'll talk more about the players, we'll talk more about tactics, but now you're just going to get a cursory look at how the table is going to look like and who are those going to be surviving. Thank you always for tuning into the Mallam Goal podcast. We love you. We appreciate your time and we appreciate all your comments that come through our comment sessions. But follow the page, subscribe to it, put a notification button and then click it so that anytime we post, you can be able to have the notification and then hop onto it. Gentlemen, let's start the conversation. For the Premier League's around the corner. Look, we can't wait for it to get started. And for many of you who want to do business with Betway, the time, I met some guys, actually. They're friendly games, no. It'll be the most dangerous time to bet because you go see, say, Man City is playing Celtic. And I'm like, City Celtic.
Oh,
on any day,
City, then go eat them.
then they'll lose. You go see, say, Chelsea, they play Celtic. You're like, Chelsea against Celtic on any day.
Then go eat them. Then Celtic.
And, Real Madrid themselves didn't win all their games. There were some draws and all of that. So, this is friendlies as the preseason is the
AC Milan, Barcelona as well. Banana peel games.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, gentlemen, let's go into it now. Let's have that conversation about the Premier League. But did you guys notice that this preseason, big teams played big teams more?
Yeah.
I think in years, it's money, right? Years ago, like teams to play some small team, play a big team, then end with small team.
Exactly.
But look at Chelsea's preseason. They played Celtic, they played Club America, they played Real Madrid, they played Man City. So look at Man City's games as well. Real Madrid's
so the concept of preseason, I think, is shifting from what it was.
Yeah.
Not just preseason, but also all of these Asia tour, US tour, Africa tour, and all of that. It is shifting from what it was. So in the past, the big teams, as you've rightly noted, were reluctant to play each other.
Yeah.
Even if it happened, you would find them playing one equal team, then a few tiers below,
Because
then some lungu.
low profile,
Yes.
Yeah.
medium profile,
And then they end the tour. But as time goes on, these games have become much more economically viable.
Yeah.
And are opening doors to new markets. The first part of that, which is the economic viability, means, for example, when Real Madrid played Barcelona last year.
A classical preseason. What the hell is classical preseason?
Yes. Now, in the last 3 years, we've had Clásicos back to back.
You saved that for the
preseason.
league season.
And I'll tell you why. Last year, before the game, they had clocked $30 million from ticket sales alone.
On that fixture.
Yes. Now,
Classical abroad is expensive.
these days, when they organize these matches, they have what we call, to call it loosely and in Ghanaian parlance, after party. So there's a VIP session where you have all of these business executives who will pay to have a conversation with all Zlatan and all of these guys. There's that, which helps them to open new doors. Now, for Premier League clubs, it has become more important because of the American market.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the next part of it, the opportunities it opens to them. How many of these English clubs are owned by Americans?
These days, plenty.
The US has probably the biggest sports market in the world.
Yeah.
However, football is just a small component. But the trick is that they are not looking to win from that small market. No, the market is already disseminated and with very entrenched positions.
Exactly.
Those who love American football are not suddenly going to start loving football
soccer.
because Real Madrid, soccer as they say, because Real Madrid is in town. No. But if there is a way to appeal to a certain rich man out there, they will do it.
Mhm.
They will spend an extra week in the US. And that's why Wrexham, the Reynolds guy, he was an actor in the United States. Within a year, I think his net worth has shot up to the point where he got into the position to buy Wrexham. That's why Wrexham will be in the States for preseason.
Almost in the last 2 summers or 3 summers,
they'll be in the States for preseason to play a match. But they got to the point where the club became attractive. And here's the thing. Wrexham is not your big name in English football, right? It is important to those in the UK, the communities where these clubs are, where it means quite a lot. So over there, it has its value. But a lot of these clubs who are struggling, and you see, COVID wiped away the value of a lot of the clubs in the world. Even the big clubs, a lot of them lost money because they couldn't do any activations, they couldn't play football, they couldn't do business. If you're not doing business, you're not getting money. But the big clubs can absorb it because they have better reserves, and over time, once normalcy was resumed, they will get into business again. They will make their money.
Right.
I mean, 4 years after restart, Real Madrid have now become the first football club in the world to make £1 billion in profit. So it just goes to show you how robust these clubs are. So for them, they have no problem. But for mid-table teams like Bournemouth, for teams like Wrexham, who are not even in the Premier League, there is a market out there. If they can attract the attention of that rich businessman in the States who can buy a 30% stake, who can buy a 40% stake, who can become even an investor. Now, pay attention to all of the reported takeovers in the Premier League. Each one of them has had an American involved.
Okay.
That's how come. So these days, Arsenal are holding clinics in the United States where Arteta is expected to go and teach football to other coaches, to people who are not even interested in football. But it is part of the package Arsenal will sell in the summer because they want money.
That's it.
So in the past, it really didn't make sense. But
it was just about getting fit and then play. But right now, it's more business.
Exactly. And here's the thing, just to conclude. They are doing this at this time at little to no cost to them. So in the past, that businessman who was arranging these games will give you no guarantee for the gates proceeds. But these days, you are getting $30 million from the gates alone. The agent who's organizing, or the agency who's organizing these games, are paying for accommodation, flights, everything. Yours is just show up and make money. The craziest friendly game I've seen, the Premier League ended. The Premier League's last game was played on 19th of May. Some 3 days after that, on the 22nd of May, Tottenham Hotspur and Newcastle United were in Singapore, I believe. No, they were in Melbourne. They were in Australia. They were in from the UK. That was 4 days after 3 days after the Premier League had ended. They were in Melbourne to play a friendly game. And it wasn't as if they went there with babies. This is the Spurs lineup. Pedro Porro, Radu Dragusin, Mickey van der Ven, Emerson Royal, Rodrigo Bentancur, Papi Matassa, Brennan Johnson, James Maddison, Song Heung-min, Dejan Kulusevski. Yeah, on any day, these players are starting. If they are. Look at Newcastle. Isak started. Almiron, Harvey Barnes, Guimaraes, Joelinton, Dan Burn, Emil Kraft, Karen Trippier, Nick Pope. 3 days after the Premier League had ended. If this is not about money, I don't know what is. Now let's talk about the season that is about to start then. If you did, to all of our listeners, if you did a quick Google search, I bet you these clubs are making no less than £10 million from that match.
Oh yeah, they will.
They
will. Okay, now let's talk about the season that's about to start. Coach, last season, all the teams that got promoted, all the newly promoted teams that came to the Premier League were sent back quick. It was Burnley. So Sheffield United finished the season last. Burnley came in 19th and Luton Town came in 18th. These were the 3 teams that got promoted 2 seasons ago into the Premier League. And last season, all of them have gone back. This season, we have fresh sets of Ipswich, Leicester City, our own Fatawu Saraku's Leicester City, and then our own Kamaldeen Suleiman and Southampton. They have come back to join the Premier League. When you look at the new team that have come, together with the team that are already there, the relegation dogfight, early favorites, which team do you think are the new teams in danger of going back, just like we saw last season?
You see, apart from Leicester, I'm using Leicester because I think they were, I don't think they were very unlucky, but I think they had too good a team
to be relegated.
when
Right.
they were. That's why after the relegation, at the very first time of asking,
They're back.
they're back into the Premiership. They are a proper Premier League team. But and then if you look at what they've done, yes, they've sold some of their players. Kelechi has gone for free. And then Dewsbury Hall has followed the coach to Chelsea. Dewsbury Hall, without a doubt, was an integral member of that team.
Yeah, he was. It was great for them.
Very, very great player for them. If you look at the fact that they've kept some of their players, there's the Ndidi, our own Fatawu Isahaku. They've done some intelligent signings.
You mentioned Leicester. I just look up their squad. Yeah, they've got some Premier League quality.
Yeah,
Premier League experience. Like Jamie Vardy is still
Jamie
there. Of
Vardy
course,
is still
it's
there.
not any younger. Patson Daka playing the Premier League.
He's there.
Wilfred Ndidi has played in the Premier League. Hamson Chowdhury, Harry Winks of Tottenham Hotspur,
he's there
in the Premier League. Dakodova Reed, formerly of Fulham, is playing. Is there, and then they've got also Wout Faes.
That's right.
Yannick Vestergaard.
That's right.
Ricardo Pereira.
That's right.
James Justin, Conor Cody.
Yeah.
So they've got
these are all Premier
League
League proven players.
Yes.
And they've gone in for a manager who's also very experienced in the Premier League.
Yeah.
If you compare it to the other two,
Ipswich and
then
coming with
McKenna.
McKenna.
He hasn't got any Premier League experience.
No, he hasn't. Yeah. His only Premier League experience was an assistant.
That's right. And then if you look at Ipswich themselves, the team they are coming with, I think that team needs quality inclusions.
Yeah.
And they've not done that so far. So on top of my head, I'll look at the three teams and I say, as for Southampton, I don't know what is wrong with them. They shouldn't have been in this position. But now, per the business they've done or they did in previous years, if at least some percentage of the money was reinvested in this team.
Yeah.
Because you cannot sell Luke Shaw, sell Sadio Mane, Van Dijk, and the sort of players, Pebble, Schneiderlin, the sort of players they've sold and the amount for which they sold those players for.
And is it that their model is failing? Their model of, shipping out players and redeveloping them?
You see, every team, even the Barcelona, the Real Madrid, they want to promote players through the academy. But you cannot solely rely on that to survive in the Premiership. What you need to do is that, yes, as you promote, you should be bringing in some quality. Because you don't sell a player for 75 million pounds and not even think of spending 25 million pounds of that money to replace him with something decent.
When I realized that their most expensive buy was Ghana's Kamaldeen, which went for 23.5, almost a package of 25 million, let's say. I was like, no way. It's either they have got great scouts or something, because they've always looked like they have decent enough players until they got relegated in that season. And sometimes it catches up with you.
They had battled relegation the two previous seasons.
That's right.
So they could clearly see that this is something.
It was coming.
And that was what some of us would describe lack of intelligence.
Yeah.
Because you don't come, and they too are very lucky. At the very first time of action, they're back. So it would be so unwise.
So who didn't come
for
back?
them? I think the one who didn't come back was Leeds.
You're right.
Leeds didn't come back.
You're right. Leeds. So they were even in the playoffs with.
Yes, they came very close.
That's right. Leeds didn't come back.
Okay, Leeds didn't come back. So if you look at what Southampton themselves have done, they've sold their striker. Is it Charlie Adams?
Che Adams?
Yeah, Che Adams. I think they've sold him to Udinese or Torino, to one of the teams in Italy. So he, without a doubt, had solid Premier League experience.
Yeah.
At the point in time, other teams like Newcastle, Spurs were all looking at him. So if you've sold such a player, it means that you should go back and invest.
Bring in players.
I don't think they've done that. So me, on top of my head, of the three teams that got promoted, look, I think Leicester will survive this. I think they'll be in a straight, like more or less 14th, 15th, they're about 13th. Leicester is good enough to be somewhere from 11th to like 14th or 15th in the league. and that will secure their survival. But for Southampton and Ipswich, I'm not sure. Who is the manager of Southampton now?
Southampton's manager, yeah.
Who?
Martin.
Who?
Martin. Forgetting the first name.
Russell Martin.
Yeah.
Has
The
he?
Scottish guy. Russell Martin.
Has he a Premier League experience?
Yes, I think he has a brief stint or
Brief stint. Okay,
yeah,
so
but I'm
look,
gonna have to check. But I think he's very young.
he's
a very young guy.
Yeah.
No,
But
he has a lot of experience in championship.
Another
Not,
of the
not
Pep
Premier League,
Guardiola
yeah.
disciples.
Yeah.
wannabes.
Oh no, but
Russell Martins, yeah.
I don't think. Look, of the three, Leicester is the one most well custom and solid enough to stay in the
So
Premier League.
he's I think he's been he's a championship expert if you like.
Yeah.
He was with the brilliant MK Dons team, I think, and then he coached Swansea at some point. Then
Like you're
Southampton.
saying, he's good enough for the championship.
Yeah.
Let's see what he does. But look, on top of my head, Ipswich, Southampton.
Yeah.
I think the two of them, they go down.
Actually, which teams? Which
For
team do you
me,
think are,
Beyond even their survival chances, let me localize the conversation. My interest is in the two Ghana boys, Fatawu, Kamaldeen. The only fear I have about Fatawu is the lack of stability in his career. In the last 4 years, Fatawu has worked with this new manager is going to be about the 8th different manager he has had.
That's not good for his progress.
That's not good for his progress. Which is to say, every 6 months, he has to go through a different manager. Right?
Mhm.
And for a player as young as he is, it can be very confusing having to take on all of these ideas. And every 6 months, there is a new set of ideas you have to work with. To be fair, some of those are national team coaches. So at the national team, is that CK, is that Milo, who he rarely played under, I think, the opening game, and then Otuado himself, and then Zito at the under 20. Then you have Ruben Amorim, the Sporting Lisbon B manager who worked under him. Then you had
Chris Hughton.
As for him, he was even insignificant because he didn't really play too much on it. But Enzo Maresca, now a new manager, right? And our dreams.
was it again?
So for me, that is my fear, that he may have had to take on too many instructions and too much information to the point where he then becomes bits and pieces of an aggregate of all of these concepts, to the extent that no one really has enough time with him to make the coaching about him, right? About Fatawu Issahaku. But apart from that, I have loved the way he has taken on all of these ideas, quickly remodeled his game,
But if you look
and show so much maturity as he does these days.
if you look at so when you mention managers, I'm just thinking about Maresca's way of using his wingers, and how Steve Cooper liked to use his wingers.
And I don't like Steve Cooper.
I'm not a big fan of Steve Cooper, but Fatawu Issahaku on the counter can be brilliant. And we've seen Steve Cooper and how he used at times Elanga, Gibbs White, even the early stages of Hudson Odoi on the counter. I'm thinking he's going to go by the same, maybe Mavididi and Fatawu Issahaku can enjoy.
You see, for Fatawu, it will come
So
down.
I get what you're saying. I'm just looking at the manager and how he's going to use
It
it.
will,
Exactly.
it will come down to the boy himself, to his decision making within the system he's been
Thrown in.
asked to work with. We all know Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
His team don't play expansive football.
You sit,
You sit. and
you
counter.
run
It is what the boy does
when he has the ball.
on the counter.
Yeah.
Those
Which means there will be
shooting
no
from
room for
anywhere.
error.
But I think he suits his
He's-
game, doesn't
No,
he?
it suits
He
his
likes to
game, but
run with the ball.
it comes to his decision making. We've watched him over the years. There are times where he believes because he's got very good power
From center.
in his leg, he can
Under
strike
20,
the
he was
ball.
winning you. He
Yes.
was winning you matches.
That was then.
From-
Under 20, accepted.
Yeah.
But maybe at this level, you
Mix
cannot
it up
win
a bit.
games. You have to mix it up. So what he has to do, like you are saying, which of these coaches now, under Steve Cooper, has he looked at the boy properly? What are the weaknesses? What are his strengths? It's about maximizing his strength and reducing the flaws in his game.
Hiding them.
All to the benefit of the team. Because at the end of the day, it's about the team. The coach will not overly rely on you as an individual. Maybe you need to be a Messi for them to give you that much attention. So if the boy himself, like he's saying, he's learned very well. Don't take that away from him.
He's tried.
But he has to continue to learn.
He still has a
and
lot
then
of,
modify some aspect of his
the new word now is high ceiling. But what about
So for me, Kamaldeen.
Yeah, Kamal.
Last season. And you see the contrast between
But he's injured now,
Fatawu.
also has to be said, for 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I think he's injured again.
Yeah, he is again. He is again, as we speak. The contrast between Fatawu was essentially the best creator for Leicester.
Yeah.
And then he started chipping in goals as well. Started winning important games for them. The reality is that no matter what you say, and it's not just Fatawu who's excelling, Kudus is balling. Ibrahim Suleimana, he's now in the Premier League.
Oh, yeah.
You have
He's had a brilliant preseason. I've seen some of his games. Wonderful.
Charlie. So there is going to be pressure on Kamaldeen Suleimana. Even if people don't say it, he himself, if he's a competitive person, when he looks around and sees what his mates are doing, he's going to demand more from himself. My fear is that he hasn't been good in a long time.
Yeah.
The last Kamaldeen, the last good Kamaldeen I remember was even in Spurs, and it was the Liverpool game, which was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, the relegation season.
The relegation season.
Yeah.
Since then, Kamaldeen has not played 10 consecutive games. He's not started 10 consecutive games.
You have to track it back to when he was in France as well. He wasn't consistent.
And at this stage of his career, he needs game time. He needs to play. He needs to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Figure himself out at this level. Because look, forget about whatever you knew about Kamaldeen in France or at those formative stage. This is the big stage now. You need a certain level of identity. The coach needs to know that this is the job you can do. So he models a plan to suit your skill set. But we know he's got pace. We know he's got trickery. But under what tactical scenarios or context does he thrive in? Does it suit his game? We are beginning to see where Fatawu Isaaku fits. Right? And you see, this season is more important for Kamaldeen because there is also the World Cup and AFCON qualifiers. The Black Stars are starting. Otuado's project is just about taking off. We know Otuado loves him. He's his boy. But he's not going to wait around for you to figure yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and I hope that Kamaldeen realizes that this season is it for him. This is going to be his 3rd season with Southampton. If he doesn't hack it, Southampton are going to begin to
the
count.
January transfer window.
Yes.
So this is going to be 3rd and half.
No, second and half.
Second and half,
yeah.
rather.
At the end of this season,
The relegation
At the
season.
end of this
Relegated
season, if he doesn't hack it, if his position is not clear, Southampton will begin to think beyond him. That is if they haven't already.
Facts be told. If they get an offer, they will offload.
I mean, I was never really.
Yeah, but you see, he needs to play for people to even see him and want him.
The fact is,
if you can't stay,
if you can't stay fit,
when you are playing,
you are not
consistent.
consistent.
I mean, when he was going to Everton,
Shape it out.
I never really liked that deal. I thought,
Is it?
not Everton, Southampton. At that time, they had changed ownership. Look, the model that they used to operate, brought the Van Dijk and things, is gone.
It was gone.
I had people lambast me because of my stand on that move.
Yeah, I thought
I didn't support the move.
and that was
I
team
spoke.
that was struggling. It was going to
And
go on relegation.
he had another offer.
Yeah.
I think to go to Belgium.
No, I think to go to
was it?
Germany.
Yes, it was Germany. It was Leipzig.
Leipzig.
It was Leipzig.
And they turned that offer.
was
And that was the
Leipzig.
offer I was hoping
that he would take.
that he would take.
Mm.
But
Because Leipzig would have tested him.
Look, the problem with Kamaldeen has always been his final ball.
yeah. His end product has been bad.
That is what you judge a player on. Look, we fell in love with the likes of Iniesta, Xavi, those people, Pirlo. It's because they always had the final ball right. That is what makes a footballer.
Yeah.
That final ball. And if you look at where he plays his game,
A lot of
your bell is rang consistently
Yeah.
based on your final
Cross
ball.
or score. Cross or
That's
find,
it.
Find the pass.
Find the pass.
Find your man or score. Find your man.
That is what he hardly does. Even if he's watching for the Black Stars, he's so frustrated.
Yeah, we saw him in the
The game, the 4-3.
Central African Republic.
Look,
yeah.
so frustrated.
Couple of chances.
He would do all the good things, but where is that ball? Because we cannot be hardware, cost 90. Hardware, cost 90, 0. It cannot be like that.
Especially at the highest level, it's unforgivable. But
Unforgivable.
I come to you briefly. Which 3 teams do you think now maybe are in danger. Would it be the same teams that came up? Are they
Two of them, Ipswich and Southampton.
You trust Leicester are gonna stay up?
I think so. I think they've got the experience.
How far would the Jordan move?
Jordan to Leicester. I think it's cooled down a little.
Cool down.
Yeah.
Because
he's someone that I think they
Palace might lose Eze.
Yeah.
So it's
he's someone I think would have helped Leicester a lot.
Would they?
Also because Jordan is at the stage in his career where he doesn't need to do all of that hard work and
No, he should restrict his
if
movements.
Leicester bring him in, what are they bringing him in as?
Direct replacements for
Kelechi
Iheanacho.
Yeah.
And also a number 9.
He has to be.
Look, that boy
He has
has
to be.
always been in number 9.
He has to be.
let's
I don't know why
let's not go to that
people
conversation.
people have not advised
Let's not go
him.
to that conversation now. Tell me the team
Because
that are going to get relegated.
at this point in Jordan's career, he hasn't got the pace. He can still dribble, but he's not as quick as he used to. And that's an important component for every forward in the Premier League.
Right.
And there's a chance there. Kelechi is gone. Vardy can't play every game. If the manager, unless of course the manager thinks of Jordan differently, but if I were Jordan, I'd look at that opportunity.
It's a manager he's worked under.
Yeah,
But
but
when
also,
he was under Steve Cooper,
Exactly.
he was more central.
But also, I can understand the inertia because he settled at Palace. It's his home. The people love him. The club loves.
Bro,
loves
it's
him.
London, man.
Look,
It's South London.
It's London, man.
Forget
Look.
about East London. Under this new coach, Mateta bossed that position. We are hearing that they are thinking of bringing back Wilfred Zaha.
Zaha.
On loan here from Galatasaray.
He
So,
has to leave.
anyway, but so I think the 3 teams that have come up are the 3 teams in danger of going, including Leicester City. Because when I look at the other teams that might be in that position to go out, I look at Forest and I look at Everton. But I give Everton a slight pass because they've got a coach who knows this job and can crack it. I mean, he can massacre anybody. He can just bully his way to stay up. He's that experienced at this level. I don't think Fulham will be in danger. Marcus Silva and his Fulham team are good. They've made some incredible signings as well. I think it's going to be between Forest and Everton, who for me, look, if it was an 18-team league, without the 3 teams that have come from the lower division, that was 17 teams, I'm going to say that it was going to be Everton and then Forest who are going to be relegated. However, it is not. So I think the 3 teams that have come up, they are the teams in danger of going.
If you look at what Leicester have got, it's not just what Nimli mentioned about the Premier League experience.
They've got decent players.
There is a
I
certain
agree.
There's a certain clarity about what Leicester will be about.
Yes.
Even though there is a new manager, you know that this is what you're getting.
Do we really know what Leicester will look
You see,
like after Maresca?
The
If you're
Nottingham,
coming in Maresca, I'm going to say,
You see,
oh, look at
I'm
them.
saying that. I'm saying that in terms relative to a team like Nottingham Forest.
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of football? Have you checked
You know
the
Espirito Santo?
No, but have you
We
checked?
know his brand, no.
No, but
Cicho,
he's
I
been
know.
struggling.
You know the manager, but have you checked the squad size of Nottingham Forest and the players they've got?
Yeah.
You have bits and pieces of everything.
Yeah.
That for me is, and you see in the last 2 years that they've had all of these,
They'll score goals.
They
That's
have-
what I know about them.
and
Nottingham
they've
Forest.
considered an awful lot.
That is what they have to
I'm
sort
saying
out.
that in the last 2 years that they've had this squad, other clubs sign as many as they do, and it doesn't look problematic.
But they've always had issues.
They haven't seemed
They've
to
battled
be able to
relegation.
figure that.
No, but I
that
think they'll
out.
be stable now. When it came to the Premier League, the problem was over 80% of the players they got
Were
promotion
loan
with
players.
were loan.
So they
So
brought
the
in
players
a lot.
they had to be flashed out to their clubs. And the players' stocks are raising because they had played for Nottingham, they had qualified.
And they couldn't
Their
afford
parent club wanted to bring them and move them on for bigger money. So they had to buy a new team. So, and that was going to be difficult for any team to build a new team in the Premier League.
Most likely.
I think now they are going to settle because they've been in the Premier League. We'll bring in players too. And when we sort of know in this Wolves team, when they get going under him, after having had the summer, and the attack that he has, Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White, Awoni, Wood, they've got an incredible attack. That's
I bet count Wood out.
Oh no, I'm not saying no, he won't score every time, but you keep at least 9 goals in the Premier League. He'll give you.
But the important games where
down
they
and
need
you
them,
miss.
you will miss all of
No,
them.
so I think they've got a team.
Yeah.
If he sorts his back out and he plays that his back 3 after his back 5, I think Nottingham Forest will stay, right? But anyway, let's move it up to the mid-table then. We saw what Aston Villa did last season.
Yeah.
Do we think that any mid-table club, including Aston Villa and now maybe Newcastle, have got what it takes to crack into that top 4? Looking at Anna Slot coming into Liverpool, we now have to find out what this Liverpool team really will look like, even though they've been brilliant in preseason.
It will be very difficult.
Eric Ten Hag's Man United is struggling. Chelsea, we don't know what Maresca is going to be.
See, apart from the top 3, I think the top 3 is already...
We'll come there. Or you want us to talk about top 3 and then we come and talk about those who join them. I think that's a better way to do it.
Maybe.
Looking at the way you started. So let's talk about the top 3. Who are those you call top 3?
Surely Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal.
You think Arne Slot's Liverpool are going to slot in?
No, but look, if he doesn't get this team to be part of the top 3, he gets sacked. Because the team that has been handed over to him is so good a team. More than good enough.
But we don't know his craft in the Premier League.
That is why if he's a smart manager, he will not come in there to shake the boat.
To be fair, he's not done much.
Yes.
He's not. To be fair,
what he should do, what I would have done, was to, because the team is that good.
Settled.
Young team, very settled, solid players. Allow them to enjoy a bit more of the Jurgen Klopp way of doing things. And then gradually impact, not wholesale changes, gradual. If they can get, we are hearing they are almost close to getting Zubimendi. A player in that Rodri, Sergi Busquets role that I respect a lot. He's a player who the whole Spanish team sees as a direct replacement to Rodri. And a player who is a proper baller. He's a controller. He controls the ball better than the Japanese boy will do. Endo will do. So if you have a midfield of that boy, Soboslai and McAllister, I think they match up to any midfield in the league. And they will have their way. So it will be shocking not to see Liverpool in the top 3. Right. So I think the top 3 is already sorted. It is who joins them to complete the top 4.
Hold it there. Actually, do you agree with that top 3 assertion? If you agree with what coach says, we are likely to see City, Liverpool, and
Arsenal.
And then Arsenal.
Yeah. The only threat to Liverpool making the top 3 is if Spurs find consistency. And if Liverpool do not fix that holding midfield problem. Look, last season, and I don't agree with the idea that they have a solid team or a balanced squad. The squad is still not balanced. At the beginning of last season,
what's the problem?
We all looked at that team and identified if we were wrong. The first match with Chelsea proved all of us right. That the team did not have a holding midfield.
That was the first.
And you see,
later they brought Endo.
The thing.
Endo came and he did a decent
job. The fact
job.
that Klopp could make it work is no guarantee that that is what Slot wants.
But for the preseason, I don't think Endo will play a lot under Slot.
That's why in my analysis,
he's not.
They are hoping to bring
Zubimendi. And I think managers do that to, if they haven't made a point already, send a message, and also if they have, buttress the fact that I need a reinforcement in that area.
Yeah.
Liverpool need a holding. Once they get that, look, as far as I'm concerned, the objectives for Liverpool in this summer were 2. Make sure that whatever issues were around Alisson, Van Dijk, Trent, Salah were resolved to give the team clarity, at least for this year, that they all stay. Because the reality is that some of them are running down their contract. Trent, for example. At least for this year, you are starting the season with them. As the season progresses, you can have those conversations backdoor. I think they've achieved that first part. The other objective is making the sort of reinforcement to the squad that equips the manager to go out there and then compete. Because it will be wrong to assume that Slot will be able to do the same thing Klopp with the squad.
That's Zubimendi. You spoke about the midfield problem they had in DM.
Yeah.
Does Zubimendi solve it in the way coach sees it?
I'm yet to see enough of what Slot wants to play. But the midfielders that we saw Liverpool go after were a bit different from, at least in the last 3 high-profile midfielders or 4 that Liverpool have went after and failed to land them, were all very different from Zubimendi.
Yeah.
Caicedo.
Zubimendi is better than him.
Lavia.
Yeah.
Zubimendi is better than him.
Then you have Tchouameni.
Zubimendi is
then
better
Camavinga. Right? All of them had a physical edge to their game, which Zubimendi doesn't necessarily have. Also, and not to say this to say that means he's not as good, but the 2 coaches that Zubimendi has played and are very similar, I'd also say that. Also very similar to the football that Spain plays. So if there is a certain consistency with the job description at Liverpool for him, I have no doubts that he will slot in and he will do an excellent job. But there appears to be a sharp departure from his profile and the profile of holding midfielders that Liverpool have chased in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Under Klopp.
I know.
Yeah,
This is under
Klopp,
Slot.
Fair enough. And so...
And to be fair to Slots, Klopp's football is faster than his a little bit.
Yes.
Even though he's passing the script,
his is a bit calmer.
his is a bit calm and he likes to enjoy a lot more of control.
A lot more of control. So
I
it
understand
will
the
make sense
thing.
if they want him. Now, and I'll make the same analysis for Manchester United because they also have a holding midfield problem. If Liverpool cannot get him Zubimendi, still, get him something he can work with for now.
Okay.
And then in a year, and you do that,
So
when you can guarantee him that priority A target in a year.
So if they do this,
Yeah.
if they fix the things that fix in top 3 settle.
Top 3 sets.
All right, now I want to move that conversation. Now that we know top 3, let's look at a team that can crash into that top 4. We've got Spurs lurking. We've got Man United, who everybody will be demanding for them to be there because of the state of the club. There's Newcastle, who have been there before only 2 seasons ago. They'll be hoping to be back. Aston Villa are in the Champions League, let's say, finishing in top 4. So they'll be hoping to crack it. You're looking at another 4 teams outside that top 4 hoping to crash into it. And of course, there is Chelsea with Enzo Maresca, so it makes it 5. That one slot to make the Champions League places. Coach,
I think if I were to arrange them, I want to see how Villa will handle the Champions League that they're going to play.
Mhm.
Yes, they've done some good signings, but I still do believe that
we know Champions League, should have finished 3rd.
they will.
United Emery should have finished 3rd.
Drop
to the Europa League.
You see, I really want to see how they will handle it. I still think they need 1 or 2 more additions
Right.
to this team to give them depth because of the workload.
Mm.
If they were to do that under Unai Emery, I would tip them based on the business they've done and the quality they've got to be my first team to keep that top 4. Aston Villa. If they don't make it, then I'll go for Spurs because of what they've got and the consistency. If they can bring that into their game, to be the top 4. Newcastle, I don't think they have a chance. Because if you look at the Newcastle that surprised all of us 2 seasons ago, got into the top 4 I think on the very last day of action. We saw the true Newcastle last season. Although they would, truth be told, they were worried by injuries.
A lot of injuries.
And I don't think those players are injury-free. Along the line, the injury will show up again. They've not done any form of decent signings.
I heard they after McGay, but it's not done yet.
You understand?
The English tax on that deal.
They are not.
60 million.
Charlie.
It is not that good. So I don't think about them. Now, the other 2 big teams, Chelsea and United. As for Chelsea, look, too many players to work with.
I saw a picture of somebody posted on Twitter. I said next season Chelsea's team bus was like a 3-decker.
Too many players. The players are too many. And that's going to make work extremely difficult for the coach. I think that squad name thrown down. Would they do it before the season start? I don't think so. And they are still not, they've not addressed their goal scoring problem.
As well as their leaky defense.
Defensively too, it's not been fixed. We've seen them in preseason. I don't think they're going to get better overnight. The coach is on record to have said that he stays struggling to get the Mauricio Pochettino's way of doing things away from the boys. Pochettino just stayed in there for
a season.
Yeah. So I'm shocked the coach is.
And he only got his way into the players with the last 6 games.
6 or 10 games or so. So I'm shocked when I heard the coach say that. I was shocked. Now you move on to the people who think they are the best in class.
Hold on. So last time when we were here, coach said that Captain Harry Maguire, his leg size is leg size 50.
His foot
size
is 50.
It's size 50. And we've all been laughing and joking about it. But there's a video of Man United that popped up. And this is what Mason Mount had to say. Coach, Messi Mount says that he's passing the phone to somebody
Who has the biggest feet?
who has the leg size of size 50. Coach,
Size 5'0".
no, you spot it.
I told you. You see,
But namely, you are the coach. How do you become a professional footballer with size 50?
it's not
But the
possible.
guy's playing.
Size 50.
That's
Play
why
the World Cup semi-final, play the Euro
No, no,
final.
no.
That's why he's playing at Man United.
he's never been good enough.
Size 50.
He can never be.
Doesn't really matter.
It matters.
How?
You see,
That's not giving me more power to
no.
kick.
You see, the game is a moving sport.
Yes.
It's a running sport.
Yes.
You see, the kinetic energy that you experience will have to be done at a certain pace. And
The what?
the kinetic energy that you experience will have to be done at a certain pace. So if there's any body orientation
yeah.
that restricts or limits
That
Your
movement.
ability to.
your ability to run,
Become a liability.
then you become a liability. And
Are you saying
which part
Maguire
of
is
your
not
body
agile?
do you use to run?
Oh, of course.
So if your foot just sits on the tebem like that, just sit tebem. How do you run? We all know when we're kids, they say what? On your toes,
Yeah.
on the marks,
You
get
don't,
set.
you don't run
Pick.
flat-footed.
You don't run flat-footed.
But if you
Then
have
watch
50
Harry
to weigh,
Maguire. He sits down like this. Tam. Go and watch him. That's the way he runs. His
But
foot-
isn't it an advantage? Because if he's
No.
running after you,
he's
and you
always
hear the
on his
sounds.
heels. That's why he can't play a high line. That is why he's so
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable in the high line. Look, he's the best when the team is playing on the defensive. So if he had found himself in teams like West Ham, those low blocks teams, he'll be the best.
And we saw his best years, some of them coming in
Exactly.
the Leicester City team.
Yeah.
That's
You know how Leicester
Santi-
played those six. And even in
Santi
Ole's
Makanda.
first season
Exactly.
with Maguire, yeah.
But for a coach that want to be proactive, that want to be aggressive, that want to be smart and dominate, impose, you don't need Harry Maguire. So, as for Manchester United, if they don't take it, they'll finish 10th, not even 8th, because of the business they've done so far. Look at the players that have left. Varane has left. Martial has left.
Yeah.
You sold Greenwood. Van der Beek has left.
Yeah.
They may not be first team players.
But they are squad players. You
They
have
are
to
squad
replace them.
players. You need to replace them.
2 of them have been replaced, no?
Yes.
Varane,
Euro, and then Martial.
Zexi for Martial.
One has booked a 3-month holiday to the doctor's room.
But the fact
And
of the
Euro
matter,
is
he's a young boy.
Yes.
He will recover early and come and play his game. But the fact of the matter is, that is not what the team needed.
Mm.
The team needed improvement and then depth. Because if you want to compete for the top 4, you cannot only rely on 13 or 14 good players. In one of our episodes, I sat in and said, United have got only 13 or 14 good players.
Mm.
That is why if a player like Lisandro Martinez gets injured,
There's a problem.
there's a big problem at the back. This is what, you see, I listened to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and he described the Ineos way of doing things as the best in class. That is Zuku in class.
wait. What's the Ineos way? We've never seen them. They've not done anything in football that is
Best in class.
remarkable, at least at the Premier League
So
level.
when he talks about,
what is the reference point?
I don't know, maybe the acquisition of Zexi and then
To be
Lily
fair to them,
Euro,
those deals were swift.
it is not about those deals.
Oh, but they were swift. It happened quick.
You buy a club and you don't have seed money for transfers.
No
You are
war
not
chest.
serious. No war chest.
That's
I've never-
that's
look,
the BB pass.
I have
like,
never seen
like- test.
namely,
What
this
test?
is like the first time there's been a takeover
a
of
takeover
sort.
of a sort.
And then the new owners say,
Don't have money.
no day.
We have to sell to buy.
Hey, allow cash out.
If you have money,
Allow cash out.
if somebody brings you 20 million for McTominay, you
Yeah.
Take it.
Cut your loss and take
10 million for Maguire, you take. Fenerbahce said they'll give you 10 million for Lindelof, you take. Whoever is giving you money for Wan-Bissaka, take. As we speak, Arteta, Klopp is no more.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola, in 2 seasons, every player they didn't want,
They got rid
at
of
their
them.
clubs. They got rid of them. Ten Hag, this is, you see, for a coach to be successful, you remember Mourinho first season, Mourinho second season. Mourinho second season was when he played second at United. Where we needed to back him, where Man United now needed to show proper support and agree with Mourinho when he say, sell this player, and bring me ABC. We didn't back him.
Do you remember the famous quotes?
Yes.
Where he said, these players who I didn't want,
yes,
in 2 years' time, check where they play.
Where they play.
If they play. How they play.
Somebody who says that to the same Mourinho. Check where he's coaching.
Oh, but Mourinho
he's
coaching.
Oh, no,
Upon the brow.
And how he's coaching.
But Mourinho,
he's coaching.
He has his legacy already.
He went to Roma. But at least he did some. Everywhere he's gone, he's left a legacy. That's one thing about Mourinho.
Yeah.
He may not be winning the top trophies, but per your
he'll bring
caliber,
you something.
He'll give you something. You understand? So for me, look, it is so bad.
Yeah.
It is not. You don't describe this as best in class. It is Zuku in class.
They will make top 4 for you.
Look, for now,
as it
no.
stands.
But if they can bring in Delete, Mazwari, get another holding
Midfielder.
proper midfielder who got it, go and pay the money.
Let me come to. Actually, so the same question. Now you've established as well that if Liverpool, based on the things you said, if Liverpool do the things that you said they could do, you find them in the top 3, the top 4. There's the last team to make it a 4.
Man United are out. They are not part of the project NEMFA.
Chelsea?
The United project. This whole new
best in class, Zuku in class thing.
NEMFA.
Charlie.
Now let me break down.
A shock.
Typically, for every football club, when they say there is a hole in left back, we need to sign a left back. What they do is that they have a list of targets. A, B, C, sometimes D. A is ideally who they want. B is say, no, I'm far. C is if all other things fail, we go there. The factors that determine your capacity or your chances are the selling club, how much they are quoting, if the player wants to do the deal. Which other clubs are interested in all of that? Your own finances. So those things. So it can happen that quarter, you get your D or you get your C.
Like Liverpool had Endo. I mean, Endo wasn't their first choice.
One way or the other, they will fill that void.
What's in somebody? Yeah.
They will fill that void. It may not be the players who immediately completely answer all questions about that role, but they will give you something to work with. Now, the process of arriving at this list of targets is not a day's job.
Yeah.
It is after you have assessed the team, right? So when they bring in a new technical director, the narrative out there is that he needs a few weeks or a few months to assess the team and look at where they need to spend money, where they need to look at. Now, so there is a planning phase, which comes with audit. So you've done an audit, you look at that United team. So in the context of this team, the Ineos project, where they want to go will determine the kind of players they want to sign and how they go about it, right? So even before they looked at the squad, they probably wanted United to compete at the top again. To do that, we need elite quality. That part you can't compromise on.
Yeah.
So when Ineos came, they told everyone that they wanted to re-establish Man United as an elite club. After March, they were clear in their mind what Manchester United needed. So that's nonsense audits that they were preaching that at the end of the FA Cup, look, if after watching Manchester United for the past 10 months, you didn't know what the team needed, and your audit was dependent on that FA Cup final, then you don't know your job.
But what's it really dependent on the FA Cup?
Even for the manager, his part especially. If United felt that, the FA Cup will determine Ten Hag's position, then they didn't know their job.
Don't managers get
I don't think
managers get that.
And I don't think that FA Cup played a part.
Right.
I don't think even the fans and the agitations played a part. I think it was because after sitting down with the coaches they wanted, after going to meet Pochettino, after going to meet Thomas Tuchel, they listened to these guys and realized that no, these guys, they are not serious.
They don't have the money to pay.
They don't have the money to get me the players that I want. And I think now we are beginning to see it.
Yeah.
Because at that time, you would have told, the questions these coaches would ask you is, this is the squad you have. This is what will work for me. Can you afford it? If you can't, what do you think you can do? Right? Because you are not going to sit there to discuss tactics with them. Who your coach? Who name tactics? Dan Ashworth and all of the what they can bring to the table is a network of links, contacts to players who fits the profile that you say you want. Right? And a certain briefing from Omar Berada. So Berada will tell them, this season, we can spend £30 million on a fullback. Or overall, this is the budget we are working with. So when Dan Ashworth comes to sit with the coach, this is what he will tell the coach that, oh, this is what we can play with. And we think that this market is where we can get this value that helps us stay within the budget. If the coach doesn't like, you call CEO and say, Charlie, this thing is not working. I think what is happening now shows us that those conversations with those coaches prove to the coaches that, look, these people, they are not what they say they are. They don't have the money. Because right from the beginning of January, it has been obvious that United don't have depth in attack. That United don't have centre-back options. And so going forward, they needed bodies and bodies that will be available.
Okay.
Let's that audit
Man United and talk about why Chelsea. Let's talk about Chelsea if they made the fourth team in the top four. Would they be the fourth? Having established the top
think
three?
That fourth team will be Spurs.
Why not Chelsea?
Not Chelsea because they, unlike Man United, they are spending a lot. In fact, in the last 2 weeks, Chelsea have spent
Let me check if
30 million.
Let me check if they signed another player today.
Bro, I can be having lunch. By the time I'm done, Chelsea
They
have
bought a
announced
player for 30 million.
I get into an Uber to get to the office.
There's another player.
By the time I get to the office, Chelsea have announced another signing. See, now they have 6 goalkeepers on their books.
I can't believe that.
Six goalkeepers.
What
Look,
do you need that for? Too many players.
Your friend, Kepa. How do you pronounce it?
Ariza Balaha. Ariza Balaha.
Kepa what?
Kepa Ariza Balaha. Ariza Balaha.
So behave yourself. Look, they have Robert Sanchez is still there. Philippe Jorgensen, Bettinelli, Petrovic, who I think is the best among them there. Beckstrom, and then Ariza Balaga.
This is strange. The last player Chelsea signed is like yesterday. Today they've not signed any player yet.
Yeah.
It's wild.
No, they are
it's not midday yet.
On the day
There's
of
a Brazilian boy that they want to.
It's
on
not
the
midday
day
yet.
of recording, it's not midday yet. So,
not midday.
So look,
by the time the day ends, like
for me, I think they are great. There's too much chaos around the club.
Too much.
There's too much chaos around the club. And the manager now has to, within a very short time, make sense of what everybody can do for him. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to pick players he should not trust.
So Chelsea
and you can't really blame him. No, I don't think so.
Why
I
don't
think
you
that-
think Spurs get into that top four? Because we saw get to the end of last season, there were massive inconsistencies in the side.
I think they have had-
their brand of football seems to have been found out.
Apart from City and Arsenal, they've had the most stable technical setup in the Premier League. So last year, they did that audit they did and quickly cleared the technical stuff. They changed their recruitment team. And that reflected in how these days they are going after some very young players. So the Danish kid that they got, the kid they signed from Leeds United as well, 18, 17. There's a certain consistency.
Dominic Solanke might
also
be joining.
So-
Richarlison doesn't want to leave and go to Saudi. He wants
So
to
they
fight
know
for
that
space.
they don't have the money to spend at this point. But I have confidence in the manager because, you see how he started last season. When every coach gets the job, your first task, the most important thing, is to stay in the job. Get the results. That will buy you time to be able to get your ideas across. He managed to do that while for half of the season was competing essentially for the Premier League title. I think it was from November that they fizzled out also, right? But I like the clarity that he brought to the club in a very short time, and it was easy to tell the sort of football Spurs wanted to play. It was also easy to see the defects in that system. What for me also won my admiration is the fact that he himself did not shy away from the fact that these are the problems there. Now we get to see him and how he goes about resolving those issues that Spurs have got. I know, understanding the problem is not the solution. But more often than not, managers have communicated in a manner that suggested they are either being dishonest or they don't know the problem. I like where Spurs are. I like the fact that after losing someone who was giving them 30 goals a season for the last 3 or 4 seasons, they still managed to stay within touching distance of the top 4 without a significant look. There was no hurricane. They had to deal with a striker who wasn't scoring in, what's his name, Richarlison. Still, they managed to push this boat and got close to reaching their objectives. I think that even if Spurs have a season as good as they did last season, it will benefit them because unlike last time, United, Chelsea are going to have exactly the same seasons they will have. If there's going to be a threat to Spurs getting into the top 4, it won't come from Man United or Chelsea. It will be if Villa are able to manage that Premier League schedule with the Champions League, because they are ordinarily their staff or their squad is built for the Premier League.
That's right.
So now they have to spend more, get a few more players that will allow them to rotate. But rotation that does not affect the performance and then the results. If Villa get that sorted, I think they will be a shoe-in and probably have marginally slimmer chance than Spurs.
Right.
But apart from that, my money is on Spurs.
What is your money on? Who do you think is going to make... Do you agree with the guys that the top 3 is settled? City, Arsenal, not in any particular order, but City, Arsenal, Liverpool. And then for coach, who did you say was going to break into it? Villa. Coach says Villa is going to break into the top 4 again. Actually thinks it's going to be Spurs. And if there's any team that is going to cause the problems for Spurs, it's not going to be your Man United or your Chelsea, but rather it's going to be Aston Villa if they are able to manage their schedules well. So what do you think that is going to happen in the Premier League? Do you agree with the teams that are likely to be relegated? I think that the 3 teams that came, they carry the most threats of being relegated. The top 3, I agree with the guys. And I don't think Chelsea will make it into the top 4. I do think, though, that we're going to have a surprise for who makes it into the top 4.
That space is open.
And I'm looking around and looking at the business that Mohamed Kudus, Julian Lopetegui and West Ham are doing. Yeah. Okay, so looking at the fact that they won't be involved in Europe, so they've got the Premier League to focus on. Julian Lopetegui is a good coach.
Actually, the business they've done is...
Yeah.
So West Ham are doing... So they're getting to Debo.
Yeah, they're getting to Debo.
They've got Fulkrug as well. Then they signed...
Paketa is going nowhere because nobody wants to take him because of the risk that it comes with this with his betting issue, so he stays.
Yeah.
Right? And they're only building on what they had last season. They've not sold players. No. And they are building on... I mean, Zuma is going to go to my league, the Saudi league, the best league in the world. And so that's fine. But Todibo is going to come...
They are signing Anthony.
But they are... We don't know what...
They are signing Anthony.
So I'm thinking... Look, I'm not saying West Ham, but it's that team that I'm closely paying attention to. That what can Bowen, Fulkrug, Paketa, Mohamed Kudus do in the Premier League next season? They would really be a handful. Guys, I'll give you 1 minute each on what to expect from Mohamed Kudus next season. He's the star boy.
He has to do better. He has to improve. His goal scoring will have to do better. Under Lopetegui, he cannot be losing the ball and be walking. He will not accept that from him.
Yeah,
that is the only part of this game that I don't like. Because if you lose the ball and you make no effort to retrieve,
to win it back,
it's unacceptable. So all I'm expecting from him, should go back, look at his clips. All his clips from last season pointed out to that. Nobody doubt his talent. On the ball, he's excellent. He knows what to do with the ball. But there are times where on the defensive, he needs to work for the team. If he can do that, I expect him to score not less than 12 goals in the league.
How old is Kudus now?
Kudus is
24, 25.
He is approaching his peak years. The next 3 years, and I think he should target 2, will determine if he will make the jump from
West Ham,
being not just West Ham, but being a very good player to a world-class player.
From being a prospect or talented young man to a real deal. Mbappe was talented at 18, but at 19 we knew he was a real deal. Even at 18 we knew he was a real deal.
We knew he was a real deal. And just like you said, his peers are using shorter time than ever to reach that world-class level.
Vinicius Jr.
And it's making all of us...
Bellingham.
It's making all of us impatient. One thing his peers also showed is that they took opportunities they had after setbacks. So yesterday we were discussing Vinicius.
Yeah.
And how in his debut season, things weren't great.
No, was brutal.
He went to...
I remember Benzema's comments Benzema told was it Felamendi?
Felamendi that don't pass
French.
the ball to him and
Actually,
he plays against us.
Charlie, the guy shot.
So not too long after that, he was sent into Castilla.
Yeah.
Castilla, there was an injury opportunity. Eden Hazard, he came back and he never looked back.
Yeah.
So Kudus will have setbacks. But he needs to realize the potential he's got and demand more from himself and realize that he's got world-class potential.
Absolutely.
No
doubt.
He isn't very good potential or top.
He's
got world-class potential.
Superstar.
The next 3 seasons are going to be important. And it starts from now. He needs to push himself that I think he has to target 20 goals in all competitions at the end of the season.
He's capable, isn't he?
He's
20,
more than capable.
20 goals, maybe 28 goal contributions in total. Right? So maybe some 10 assists, or if he gets 18 goals in all competitions and then 10 assists, I'm okay. Right? It will begin to show that, last season, he exceeded expectations.
They will not be in Europe. So the number of games
will be fewer. But it also means he's well rested.
Look,
So
even if he does 12
goals, I think even 12 and 15 in the league.
If he does 15 goal contribution for a club like West Ham, I think it's fair. If West Ham are going to crack the top 4, I'm suspecting they can push for, then it means they are winning a lot of games. Yeah. And by so doing, you are scoring a lot of goals. And I want to see his numbers there. Yeah. So if he's doing 18 goal contribution, maybe some 10 goals, some 8 assists, some 12 goals, 6 assists, some 11 goals.
And what you say is also important because now more than ever, they have a center forward who is the typical center forward.
Yes, he can bounce off him. He can
who will
find
demand the ball because he has that technical ability.
Yeah.
Look, the Jamaican guy referenced Antonio was your center forward.
Yeah.
But Kudus will trust himself because you give him 10 balls, he will mess up 6 out of those 10 balls.
Yeah,
so it will make sense if you trust him. Kudus has to figure out what scenarios, just like Fatawu, when to release the ball to the center forward or whoever is in that better position, right? Without affecting his chances of goal creation. Because, yes, his development is great. He has to be a team player and all of that. But his match-winning ability will also add to his value.
Yeah.
So he needs to figure out how to not diminish the part where he has to be selfish.
Yeah.
Because
that one is part of
all
the game.
great attackers are selfish. Right? So, and it's important that he cuts through the bullshit because it's a podcast. It's important that he cut through that aspect of the criticisms on social media or sometimes even from his team. Because look, we love to say you are too selfish and all of that, but when does it become okay to be selfish? Right? So all of these little decisions are important. And for me, he needs to, most importantly, focus on the next 3 seasons and realize that, look, this is the potential I have and it starts from here.
All right. So, one thing I've got to say about Kudus' new manager is he can be very impatient with unproductive football.
Very.
He wants the results and wants them at times very quickly. So you need to almost work yourself and prove it. And now here's the thing. Now that they've got a proper number 9 in Fulkirk, I don't see the chance of Bowen having to play down the middle to necessarily accommodate Kudus on the right all the time. So I want to see how the balance. I think Bowen can play behind the striker, but the problem then is where does Paqueta play? Okay, so we'll see how Julian Lopetegui, and that's the good thing about for any manager to have. When they've got enough quality to give you the headache, it means your team can cause all the problems that there is to cause.
It also means one of the things we've grappled with about Kudus in the Black Stars about being number 10. He has to develop it quickly. Because there will be games where
in West Ham,
the manager
he will use him as a number 10. I can bet you on that. Kudus is not his number. He has Paqueta. He has Bowen. Right? I even think you play Ward-Prowse in a more advanced position.
If there are home games,
I really want to see what Lopetegui.
Yeah. Honestly, seriously.
I want to see what he
if there are home games,
I really want to see what
I can bet the whole podcast
that it will happen.
Lopetegui won't play my boy as a number. See, he'll play him in a role that allows him to play quite narrow. Come close to the edge of the box, come close to the goal post, come close to the goal area. The fullbacks are going to have their spaces, but he has to combine well with in the half spaces.
So sometimes off the striker.
Yes, he has to combine well. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for today.
Absolutely always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.
Enjoyed it so much. So let's see. Let's have your thoughts on those you think are going to be relegated. We've not kicked the ball yet. We are just predicting. It's not prophecy. It's prediction. Let's see those who can make the top 4. But as the season goes on, of course, these things are likely to change. But it's based on what we have now, based on the squad that have been built now, and based on the fact that the Premier League is just around the corner, and you can do business with Betway, and then we'll be coming your way every time on Mallam Goal podcast. Thank you for tuning in again, and then drop your comments and put on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
We'll be having
Charles.
Danny with us on the next spot, so do watch out. Danny K is very fine, is very well. He's just on an assignment, as well as Felix. As for Fentio, you know, the whole world is pulling him away from us, but he'll be back very soon. Have a good time. It's bye-bye.